many 12-year-old girls, I was a follower. In middle school, my main interests were wearing the same Rachel from Friends haircut and listening to the same Hootie and the Blowfish CD as everyone else. The summer between 6th and 7th grade was absolutely no different. I intended to blindly follow my friends into whatever activities they had all chosen to do. Now, as a 12-year-old growing up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, your three basic options for how to spend your summer are detasseling corn, smoking cigarettes behind the Dairy Queen, or doing what we did and enrolling in a 3-week program called College for Kids. Now, as you might imagine, College for Kids is an incredibly prestigious program taught at one of the area's most elite institutions, Cornell College in Mount Vernon, Iowa. And as you might also imagine, College for Kids doesn't accept just anyone in the greater Cedar Rapids, Iowa metropolitan area. No, you have to send away for a catalog, you have to complete an application, and you have to convince your parents to give you $75. Now, once I had cleared all of those hurdles, really all that was left was choosing my coursework. But this was kind of a no-brainer because, like I said, I was a follower. And so I simply borrowed my friend Christina's application and copied it, word for word. We had to rank order our classes, 1 to 10, 1 being the highest, 10 being the lowest. And without looking at the class titles, much less the descriptions, I just made an exact replica of Christina's ranking system. And this would have worked perfectly had I turned my application in on time. But what happens when you're 3 weeks late in doing so is that you get the bottom of the barrel classes. You get your sort of 8th, 9th, and 10th choices, whereas your friends who turn their applications in on time get their 1st, 2nd, and 3rd choices. So it's day 1 of College for Kids, and I'm just dreading it. I know that I won't be in any of the same classes as my friends, and I really just want to get the entire ordeal behind me. I arrived to the bus that morning, and my friends are just buzzing with excitement. They are super pumped for classes like show choir and jewelry making and Tai Chi. Whereas what I've accidentally signed up for is a lineup that includes mock trial, something called Behind the Walls, an insider look at America's prisons, and a Civil War reenactment class. Now, mock trial is a little bit dry for someone like me who has no legal aspirations whatsoever. And the prisons class seems like kind of an odd offering for College for Kids. But the piece de resistance is really the Civil War reenactment class. I arrived to Civil War class that first day, and as the other students slowly funnel in, I realized that I am the only girl. The only girl in a sea of 20 middle school boys and one kind of oddball instructor whose enthusiasm for the subject matter sort of makes you question what motivates someone to teach Civil War reenactment to children. The first thing we do in Civil War class is choose our Civil War soldier name. Now, as you may have guessed, there are not a lot of lady names on the list, and so I just pick at random. I pick the first name that I see. And so over the next 3 weeks, I am to become Jedediah Lee Abraham, a soldier who fought for the South and died of dysentery. A disease, I should mention, I previously thought only existed inside the computer game Oregon Trail. I don't think I've ever wanted to be as invisible as I did boarding the bus home that afternoon. My friends are like practicing choreography from show choir and showing off friendship bracelets from jewelry making class, and I am just avoiding eye contact and praying for no follow-up questions whatsoever. On day 2 of Civil War class, the wooden guns arrived. We were each given one, and we spent the day in the scorching Iowa heat in the courtyard of Cornell College campus, practicing our Civil War marching formations and learning proper rifle positioning. It was at this point that I'd sort of resigned myself to the fact that nothing in life would ever be worse than this very moment ever. Until I boarded the bus home that afternoon, and one of my friends says, "Carrie, we saw you today." "Oh, like at lunch or something?" "No, we saw you today." And that's because the courtyard where we had been marching was surrounded by every window of every classroom of every student of College for Kids. Now, there are a few things that go through your head when your 12-year-old girlfriends discover you're part of a Civil War reenactment troupe. One is obvious embarrassment. Two is the assumption that your middle school social life is just over forever. And then three is this very strange surge of adrenaline that sort of overtakes you and causes you to stand at attention with your gun, salute your friend, and sort of own the fact that you are the only person on this bus that gets to carry a wooden rifle. Now, over the course of the next 3 weeks, things progressed just exactly as you might imagine. I became really good at marching, and my friends became really good at avoiding me. I know. At last, the final day of College for Kids had arrived, a day I was looking forward to not only because it marked the end of this godforsaken class, but also I was really excited to get on with the rest of my summer and exert my newfound sense of independence. It was Parents' Day that last day, and so my mom got to accompany me to all of my classes. Now, Mom was bored by mock trial, horrified by the prisons class, but once again, the grand finale really came in Civil War class. We arrived to class that day, and something looked different. And that's because in the center of the classroom, one of our 12-year-old classmates was lying on top of a folding table next to several rusty scalpels. And lying on top of him was a raw chicken breast with a bullet lodged inside. Because yes, that's right, our final Civil War reenactment was to perform a battlefield surgery for all of the parents gathered there that day. More specifically, Jedediah Lee Abraham was to perform a battlefield surgery. Now, there are a lot of big, grand philosophical lessons I learned that summer. Things like never blindly follow your friends, always really trust your instincts, the value of sensible footwear on the battlefield. But standing over that terrified 12-year-old with a rusty scalpel in my hand, knowing that this was all that stood between me and the rest of my summer, I think the most visceral lesson I learned that day was when the going gets tough, the tough get the fucking bullet out of the chicken breast.